Welcome to T-Boys TV. We are back again with another Hatter Show, obviously episode 116. Obviously, in today's one, we're going to be talking about the West Ham game, and then obviously we are going to do a little rating of the transfer window out of 10, because obviously it's officially shut, and this is the first time we're doing it since it has been officially shut. Obviously, a lot of outgoings as well. You know, a lot of players we expected to leave have, gone out, terminated contracts, gone out on loan, etc. So, yeah. But like always, I'm joined with my dad. How are we, Dad?
Yeah, all good, mate. All good.
Good to hear. But obviously, we'll get into the West Ham game first. So, obviously, it was our first ever Premier League game at home, as we know. As much as it wasn't a result we wanted, it's good that, we'll remember this, looking back at it, because YouTube, unless you delete it, stays on there. Obviously, I've done a watch long, so Luton were making history. It's good that I'll be able to see that, see that for good. But obviously, we took on West Ham, as we know. Going into it, it was always going to be a difficult game, especially with how they've started. They beat the two teams that we've, lost to previously, convincingly both times, to be honest, as well. So we always knew it's going to be difficult, but we knew it would be tight, especially with us being at home. But obviously, the lineup, when that come out, so it's Kaminsky in goal. Again, he deserves to, keep his place with how he was in the previous games. Doughty as the right wing back. Good to see that he started. He deserved to definitely start, whether that was on the left or the right. Just, the performance he had against Gillingham, every time he's come on, he's been pushing. So he deserved it. And then the back three was Reece Burke, Anderson and Bell. So no Lockyer in that, which was obviously interesting, but I think it was an injury, wasn't it? Obviously, he was watching on. And then Giles was on the left. And in the midfield was Chong, Nakamba and Barkley. And then Adebayo and Morris. So I think based on that, it was pretty much what I said bar Lockyer when I think about it. And I think I said I'd start Kabore, if I remember, but I wouldn't be surprised if Doughty started. I think that's what I said when it comes to that. But, it was a good enough, good lineup. Obviously, as for the bench, it's Berry, Brown, two youngsters on the bench in this one. Francis Clark, who has been got loaned out like the day after. Johnson, who was obviously, had that little cameo against Middlesbrough last season. Like I say as well, when I went Rotherham away, he was doing individual training. Kabore, Krul, Ruddock, Chio and Woodrow. So a good bench as well. I was thinking maybe Menji would be on the bench. Obviously, a new signing from Man United ahead of like Johnson. But, obviously it was literally announced the day before, so he's not always going to be in, but you just maybe think it, especially of how much we needed, left centre-back, obviously playing the left centre-back and the right centre-back. But it was a decent lineup. Obviously I was a bit gutted that Lockyer wasn't in it, but, when I looked at it, I thought it was decent. What did you make of that lineup, Dad?
Yeah, it's expected. Obviously, Lockyer's, I don't think his injury's that bad, but he was in the crowd and that. And we Doughty we wanted to start, expecting him to start. Maybe thought there might have been a change up front, but there weren't. But yeah, pretty much as expected. The new signing from Man United, I think it's signing quite in time, and obviously the new guy from on loan from Arsenal was there as well. So yeah, expected lineup.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, like I say, Lukonga was there as well. Obviously, we were rumoured heavily with him during the day on that Friday. And then obviously it was announced shortly after the game. So that is that. We'll go through some comments. Big up to Stephen. It says, big up Ty, big up yourself, mate. I don't know why I didn't let me click on the comment there, but big up yourself. Big up to David. Says, big up T and your dad. Big up yourself, mate. Hope you're well. Stephen saying, big up to you as well. Yeah, we will get into that. Of course. It's only right. Stephen, obviously there. He said, walking to the ground, the buzz was out of this world. Yeah, I can imagine, mate. I can imagine. Yeah, it would have been You know, like you say here, history making. So there's that. Big up to Luca as well. He says, "Hi, how are you? I'm all right, thanks, mate. What about yourself?" Oh, wow, I didn't actually know that. Apparently, he's withdrawn from the
Yeah.
Wales camp.
But yeah, because he would do that. He's got quad injury, so he can't.
Yeah, I didn't really know too much about the injury, to be fair. I just knew that he weren't available. But yeah, there you go. It's one of them though. Was he going to play anyway? You know, he never gets the chance, annoyingly. But it's one of them. It is one of them. And yeah, big up to James. I don't think I've ever seen you in here, mate, but big up yourself. He says, "Is a new formation needed, you reckon? One up top?" Well, it's interesting because, you know, obviously not a lot of Premier League teams play two up top, you know, like we do. I think I've said it numerous amount of times, and it's just the obvious. You know, away from home, when we go to, you know, Anfield, Etihad, Emirates, you know, we'll definitely need to change it up because of the quality of the teams. At home, I think we maybe need to. I was saying maybe stick with the same at home because, you know, how Kenilworth Road is, how direct we are, etc., etc. But based on what I have seen, I think we need to change it up at home as well. What do you reckon, Dad?
I don't know. It's difficult because we said that we ain't going to go away from the way we play, and like if we did have one up, I'd say three up. You know, three across the front. That's what we've got the personnel to do that. But one up front, I can't. Who would you just put up front on their own?
That's the thing. Yeah.
I don't think. I mean, Morris is the most sort of likely candidate, but no, I think we'd have to go for three.
Yeah, no, I agree. You know, we have got a few wingers at the club, players that are predominantly wingers. Chio is one of them. Again, another player that's looked good when he's, you know, come on at times. So, yeah, I don't know about one for us. I would, I'd say three. I'd say three, definitely, because, yeah, we are good from set pieces as well, you know, and then wingers can provide good crosses.
Well, like, if you got one up front, like, you've got to have someone with more experience, like, of doing that, playing on their own up top, and in the Premier League, we can't do it. So I expect us to stick with that, or potentially like start putting three across the front because we need to start scoring goals. That's it.
Yeah, definitely there. But obviously we'll move on to the first half. You know, good bits to play by us. You know, in the first half, you could say it's probably similar to when we played them in the friendly, in the sense where they were 1-0 up. You know, at half time, a similar goal in the sense that it was a header. I remember in the friendly it was Suchek. This one it was Bowen. We'll just go straight to the goal. You know, because obviously that's the main bit from the first half. Kaminsky should have done better. You know, I think he knows that as well. But at the same time, and something, you know, I've seen quite a few fans frustrated with, and I was frustrated at the time, you know, I was saying it on the watch along, is Giles' marking. You know, it wasn't good enough. You know, Amari Bell, you know, as much as we know it's not his natural position, he was marking Antonio. You know, obviously, maybe he had a plan to do that as well, because obviously they play for Jamaica. So, you know, he gets a bit more insight of him in the training sessions and etc. So maybe he thought of a plan to do on him, but he was on him. Ryan Giles, you know, he wasn't goal side. Of Bowen. And I was a bit frustrated because as much as Bowen's, you know, a wicked player, I've said that for time. You know, he's not the tallest of players, you know, so when he's winning headers like that, it is frustrating. You know, and see Giles going like that, like he's got to be marking better, man. He's got to be marking better. Like I say, Kaminsky, you know, he's got to be doing better, and he knows that. You know, he knows that. But for me, Giles had to be marking better there. And yeah, in the last couple of games, he's been disappointing, man. You know, he started off really well, you know, in pre-season and the Brighton game, he was decent, but the Chelsea game and the West Ham game, he's not been good enough. You know, he's crossing in the Chelsea game because that's his, you know, his biggest strength. You know, it was awful. They were struggling to get to the front post, and this game, you know, being caught out like that, and let's be real, Middlesbrough fans, they did warn us that he's not great defensively, and it is showing at the moment. I know we're still early on, but at the same time, come on, man. Like, that's basic, man. Goal side. It was frustrating, like I said on the watch along. But what did you make of the first goal, Dad?
Yeah, same really. It's not the first time. A couple of times he's been kind of ball watching or whatever, not picking up his man. But again, like I say, yeah, he's not. But he's not a defender. He needs to work on that. But he's never going to be that. And really, it's down to us to I don't know, man, work with that or get someone to be tracking back as well or something. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe if we had a left centre back there as well, like they'd be calling, like, come on, man. Like, I do feel that he's just better going forward, and that's what he hasn't been great going forward, but he is better going forward. And I'd be tempted to put the Man United lad in the left centre back position. And start and maybe even putting Bell there, because Bell will come back. He's not, he's in his natural position there. He's not like world class there, but he's, you know what I mean. He'd do a better job. And then that's where these changes and tweaks have to come in, because they're not fitting. Some of these new players are not fitting into the system, and that is the problem really. More, or they're not got the quality in that. No, it's then they're not fitting into the system. Yeah, no doubt some of them will, but that that side of our defence, that down, the left channel and all that. Every single game, we've conceded a goal from there. So yeah, Kaminsky definitely. If you're a Premier League goalkeeper, you can't really be like getting, basically punching it into your own net. But it is what it is. Like he's been fantastic other than that. So and after that, he was fighting like with other keepers after that, like Ethan, Sluga. It takes them. You can see it takes them longer to like get over that. It wasn't like a massive error, but he was. His confidence is there, so it's what it is.
Yeah. No, exactly. It's not one where I'll drop him next game, because he's like I say, that he done well and he looked composed after, and he has a lot of times, Brighton, he got my man of the match, even though he conceded 4, prevented him from being even more. A lot of the goals he couldn't have done anything. The penalty, he nearly actually saved it in that game. Chelsea game again, made a few good saves. It's a powerful shot by Sterling early on. Yeah, it was straight at him, but it's a powerful shot, and you got the defenders, sometimes blocking your view, so you can't quite see it. Made some good saves, even a lot of saves he made in the second half, tipping them wide and etc. He, out of the players so far, he looks like he can definitely make that step up, based on what I've seen of him so far. And like I've said numerous amount of times, I was asking a Blackburn fan when we were rumoured with him, what is he like? And he said, distribution's a bit shaky, but again, I don't look at that, because look at even the top keepers. Alisson, he has Mares every now and then, Ederson, look at him in the Champions League final, they have it. So I don't really look at that. Even though Nana from Man United, he's been getting away with, when he's got the ball at his feet. But he said his overall shot stopping is Premier League quality, and I think we are seeing that at the moment. So yeah, that's that on that. But it was just a bit frustrating. There was good parts of the game. Nakamba was a lot better in this game. That's the Nakamba we're used to seeing. But yeah, it was frustrating, the goal. It was frustrating, the goal that we did concede. But yeah, moving on to the second half. Unless there's any final things you'd like to say about the first half.
I think actually every single game we've been 1-0 down at half time, haven't we? So
Yeah, Chelsea we were, Brighton.
That's not too bad really when you think about it. Considering we're supposed to be the whipping boys everywhere, and we're not even firing at 70-60% at the moment. Not, and that's not or no, they're not good enough. They're not good enough. The team's not working together. That's the main thing. And yeah, it's just getting that right and still getting used to it. But 1-0 down at half time is not the end of the world.
No. This is spot on. I've been saying the same thing. Weird one with Amari, was thrown in at left centre back once. Naismith slept. And it went well for him, but he's been found out too often. Not his fault though. He's out of his position. Yeah, exactly. It's one where I don't want to be too critical because it is not his natural position, but at the same time, it is frustrating, because I've said it, even when he was doing so well last season. For me, last season, he was our most consistent player. I said that because there was one game where he's left wing back, not literally, but, there were some games he's left wing back, some he was left centre back, and he done very well, but for me, we've needed to address it because of stuff like that, Same with the right wing back. Options, we've got in good players that have done well on loan, but, when it comes to the second choice, you want competition in every position. We have midfielders as our backup options. Clark sometimes went there. Fred was probably the main one. Again, obviously, we know he's more of an attacker. Same with Clark, midfielder, attacking midfielder. There's been a few others, but, it is frustrating because even when we were having more positive weeks, we were saying we need to sort them out. And like I say, it's good to have competition in every single position. That's the most successful teams. That's what happens. So it's one of them when it comes to that. But yeah, moving on to the second half. So obviously West Ham did score. Emerson. One good thing the officials did in this game, I guess, was actually see that he was actually offside. And fair play to the linesman and obviously VAR for seeing it. That was one positive. But yeah, it was, for me, going into the second half, it was similar to Chelsea in the sense where if they get the second, then it's more than likely done. Brighton, it was obviously at 3-1. But 2-0, if they score again, it's over because it's just going to be difficult. Obviously, we did make some changes a bit later on than I would have wanted. But they were changes I did want to see. Kabore for Giles, which obviously meant Doughty went over to the left. Ruddock come on for Barkley. Barkley wasn't great in this game. We have to be honest. And then obviously Brown for Elijah. I wanted to see Brown start. You lot know that. How he's been in the games he's come on. He scored against Gillingham. People go, it's Gillingham, but it's early. Early goal opened up his home time at Kenilworth Road as a Luton player very well, and he was knocking on the door. So for me, he should have started, but it's one of them. And then obviously did bring on Chio as well for Doughty a bit later on. I think that meant Chio just went into the left wing back role. Again, another attacking player in that role. But again, he's looked good when he's come on. But yeah, it's one of them. Loads of changes for us. Literally, brung Woodrow on for Chong. And Chong wasn't too impressive, let's be honest, compared to last night. Chelsea, I think I gave him man of the match, didn't I? But yeah, he weren't that great in this game, if we're being honest. But then obviously they got the goal, 5 minutes left to obviously, go in the driver's seat to go on and win the game. Zuma with the goal as well. Of course it was. Ward-Prowse with the assist. Ward-Prowse obviously doing very well since coming for West Ham. Got another assist. And, at that moment, it was a frustrating goal to concede because the more and more I see it, no one was actually when Zuma was leaping up, no one was actually, trying to compete with him. It's pretty much a free header in the end. Kaminsky was obviously fuming, rightly so, because no one's marking. It's frustrating. And yeah, for me, that was the bit where they were gonna go on and win it. You know, especially if there being 5 minutes left. Very frustrating goal to concede, wasn't it, Dad?
Yeah, it's just basics, isn't it? I think we got two, like Burke and Anderson. I think that's maybe the first time they've played together. Um, and I think they kind of got in each other's way like a little bit. And it's what it is. Like it was a good header. Keeper had no chance. On another day that went wide, but it is what it is. And the time, but we stayed at, you know, we did come back and maybe could have got a point at the end as well. So
Yeah, and obviously we'll move over to that.
we
Obviously,
went for it. We was going for it. So that's what you got to look at. You know, the team, all this crap that we're getting, they're getting. Just got to not let it affect them and just carry on doing what they're doing. And at one point, you know, everyone knows it. Even the pundits know it. We will pick up. You know, stop listening to these morons and certain people in the media who shouldn't even be given a platform. Just rattle off the same bullshit week in, week out. Not even watching the games. They're not even watching. Why do you think they're not managers and stuff like that? Do you know what I mean? They just ain't got into that. They're just quite happy just to sit there and spout crap. We'll see, won't we? That's it. We'll see. We're better to judge than any of them fools because this is our team. We know. So, yeah.
Exactly. And half of them that say it, you know, have only started watching us since the playoff final. You know, let's be real now. So, yeah, don't look into what they say. But obviously, you know, we was fighting. You know, was fighting. We did get a goal back. Anderson, fair play to him. You know, very good header. Good ball by Morris as well. That's why you keep Morris on as well, because he can do things like that. And yeah, they did switch off, but we capitalised on it and showed, you know, like you said not too long ago, that we're still, you know, trying to dig deep, you know, and get a result. Our heads aren't dropping, you know, that sort of thing. But yeah, it was a good goal, good header by Anderson, and I've been impressed with Anderson, man, since he's come in. You know, obviously neutral fans say whatever they want, but you know, he is obviously a Denmark international. You know, obviously he's you know, done really well at Barnsley, as we know. Obviously got player of the season last season. You know, obviously he wasn't involved in the final. Maybe it could have been a different story if he was. Maybe they'd been more steady at the back, but he's been very composed since he's come in. That's what I've noticed. You know, the friendlies I've seen him in. This game he was good. You know, even though we conceded two, you know, he was good. And for me, you can't. Yeah, he had that little bit with Burke, but for me, it's not really. I don't really blame Anderson for that, to be honest. And obviously, the first goal, nothing to do with him, in my opinion. So I've been very happy with him so far, and it was a good header. And then obviously that gave us confidence. You know, we showed that, you know, we're still willing to fight. You know, like we said, and should have got a penalty. Should have got a penalty. You know, if that's at Old Trafford, if that's at Anfield, if that's at the Emirates, that's given, right? He's not intentionally handballed here, but at the end of the day, his arm's out. His arm's out, so it should be a penalty, man. It's just mental. You know, I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. I was going on the watch along, as you lot saw. But what did you make of it, Dad?
Yeah, it probably should have been a penalty, but the problem is there's no consistency with these. So it didn't surprise me they weren't given. Maybe at Old Trafford now. I don't know. To be honest with you, you know, I watched certain other games, like the Man United game yesterday, and you think that at Arsenal, they got the referee said it was a penalty and took it away. Probably wasn't a penalty, but there you go. So it's what it is. Should have been a handball if you know, before last season or whatever they're going. Yeah, if it goes to your hand, that's it. Even to the point where people were like kicking it at people's hands to get a penalty kind of thing. And that's why they started all putting their hands behind their backs and that. But that just seems to have gone out the window. But for me, yeah.
Yeah.
Handball.
Like, we've got loads of neutral. Big up to everyone inside, by the way. We've got loads of neutral people in here. Kenny, you Man United fan, saying that penalty dispute.
Intentional or not, it's to go to hit your hand like that. It should be a penalty.
Yeah.
But we knew,
and that's the thing, because it's out, isn't it? That's the thing.
Yeah, but it's VAR. We knew we'd get done by it. Other teams get done by it week in, week out. So we're not special. And other referees and that come out, VAR specialists or whatever, said, "Oh, we've already had one. Probably the Brighton one probably shouldn't have been given for us, if you think about it, but it was. So it's going to happen. It's going to happen.
No, it's true. It is true.
Got to deal with it. It is what it is. It is frustrating. It is. But what can you do? What can you do about it? The only thing they get right is normal offsides because of the lines and stuff. That's 99% of the time. That's fine. That Man City goal, that was different because it wasn't a question of if he was offside. It was a question of was he interfering with play, which he clearly was, and they bottled it. And they need to be working on it. It gets reviewed and all that, so that shouldn't happen again. But the lines and stuff, they're spot on normally. Right? They're done from multiple camera angles, and they can't. If they're offside, that's it. What Hard was saying, that shouldn't have been. That was a foul leading up to it. He's just clutching at straws. He's losing that dressing room, mate. He's gone. Any Man United fans out there, he's going, mate. He'll be gone within a few months. Trust me. But, yeah, it is what it is. Of course, when you're in the heat at the moment, you're like, it's handball. But it's like I was saying to you, Tyler, maybe sometimes they are swayed by it. There wasn't much complaint from Rob Edwards, didn't even see it.
Yeah, he said he had to look back at it, didn't he, on his interview?
Yeah, there wasn't. Sometimes you have to just run at the ref and go, "Come on, man, it's blatant. It's blatant. Put that seed of doubt for them to go, okay, all right, VAR, obviously, do you know what I mean? But if there's that little bit of pressure on there, which there should be, then maybe it'd have been different. We weren't guaranteed to score the penalty, but I reckon that we would have done, and we'd have got our first point. Right? It's karma, isn't it? Swings and roundabouts. I'm pretty sure that possibly in our next game we'll get a decision that maybe we shouldn't have really got because of VAR, but take the rough of the swings, mate.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And again, this is something similar I was saying on a watch along. We wasn't really causing too much, and that's
confidence, because we'd scored that goal. It was like, oh, actually, yeah, let's go for it. Great, wicked to win that penalty corner from Rudder.
Yeah,
and maybe if we'd have scored a little bit earlier, we probably would have put the pressure on. We haven't seen that yet. It's the first game at Kenilworth Road, but I'm sure that at some stage that will happen. Team will be 1-0 up or whatever, and we'll be coming back in, get the equaliser, and then they'll be on the back foot, and we'll go and get the winner. The whole performance all round was the best I've seen so far out of the 3 games, definitely. And obviously part of that was being at home, but there was a few players that just didn't really turn up or whatever, which affects that. We know at Luton from the Championship days and before that, every single player is pretty much on their game. We're giving 7s, 8s, 9s every flipping week. Very rarely, maybe one player have a slight off day, but this they'll take them time to gel, and if they don't gel, or they start whatever, then there'll be changes made, won't there? So we've signed two new players who haven't had the chance yet. So we need
Yeah.
a bit. I think we're a bit light. Our midfield is too disjointed for me. You know, I get the basis of it, but you keep having players come in and not really doing much. It's just the most inconsistent part of it. We know the problems on the left with Bell and that Giles. Like, we know that already. Like, that should be changed. We've brought players in, but the midfield, bought another midfielder. So I don't know if he's supposed to be like a direct replacement kind of thing for Nakamba, probably. But for me, he's probably athletic guy in that. He's got the Premier League experience. I know some people don't rate him. We'll see, won't we? But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Moving on, we'll go over to the player ratings, and then obviously we'll get into the comments and then the last bit that we want to get into. But obviously, we'll start off with Kaminsky, of course. Like I say, should have done better on that goal. He knows it. At the same time, I put it down to Giles's marking more so than him making that error. And like we said earlier, he was composed after that, and it's not one where I would drop him next game because he still showed that composure. And like you said as well, players in the past that we've had in goal, Sluga, Ethan, their heads would drop. So for me, when it comes to Kaminsky, I'll go with a 6.5 just because of that error.
Yeah, exactly the same thing.
Same reasoning.
Yeah, we chatted about him already quite a lot. So yeah, I think that's a fair score, I reckon.
Obviously, feel free to do yours as well in the comments. We'll get through them when we do it one by one. Doughty was the next one. Obviously on the right, then he went to the left later on in the game. He deserves to start. He's been pushing. Obviously, he scored that wicked goal against Gillingham. Come on against Chelsea, done well. Like I mentioned earlier, and he was good. He was good. He was up there for man of the match. Last night I don't really like to do one when we lose, but when it comes to players that was doing well the most, he was up there. He was up there. You got to remember that obviously that's not his main position. Playing as a wing back, and he's very consistent. He's a player that we've known since he's come in. He's going to be a top player for us. And if funny enough, it was against West Ham in the friendly. And yeah, he was decent. He was decent for me. Two positions. So with Doughty, I'll go fairly high for him. I'll go with an 8.
8, yeah.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna go that high. I thought it was good, and I'll touch on that actually. Like a point to be made is, we're getting this. Oh, certain players ain't good enough. This, that, and the other, right? But the main thing is, for me, with that is you're making the effort. You're showing you're not scared of playing in the Premier League, and then you will develop if you're good. If you've got, if you're good enough, kind of thing. And he's one of the players that isn't scared and will 100% develop because he's the right age as well. Same as Chio. You can see it. And this is the thing, like, players have come up through the Football League, certain ones, if you get that balance right, they can make it in the Premier League because they're not scared. But you're finding, like, I'm seeing it with Chong a bit now because he's been in and around that. Yeah, he's played on loan and that way. He went to Birmingham, etc. But he was better there, wasn't he? Because he started off at Man United. I don't know. It just seems sometimes that they're set in this certain. They're used to playing with all these world-class players and that. Luton ain't got them. So you need to adjust your game. You know what I mean? But I thought Doughty was one of the shining lights, and I'd be starting him in the next game as well. I'll give him a 7.
And the thing with him as well, I've said it on numerous shows, he won't like the fact that he's, been dropped previously because
but
he was the main point last year, wasn't he? So
his defending weren't too bad.
No, it wasn't.
This is the thing what I was saying about last season. yeah, he's not a defender, but he was getting back. He was playing like he was last season. He'd get the tackles in, make sure he was back and things like that. Some of these new players need to be doing exactly the same thing, and then we'll probably be all right. So yeah, I won't touch on that. He defensively, but he was all right for me against some good players.
And that links to when we played West Ham in that friendly. You know, he was up against Ben Johnson, who he don't start from anymore, but he's still a good player, and he was a main starter at the time, and he was doing well up against him. Yeah, it's a friendly, but you can see them signs already. We were close to it as well that game, so it's one of them. Big up to everyone doing the ratings. This is for Kaminsky. Big up to Lewis as well. He says 7. Alex has gone 6.5 as well. Stephen's gone with a 7.8. Fair enough. And then Doughty's ratings 7.5 quality. Yeah, he was good, mate. He was good. Doughty did okay, 7.5 as well, says Lewis. Stephen says Doughty, good game, 8. And then James has gone with an 8 for Doughty as well. So similar ratings. Moving on to the next player. We'll go over to the other side. Giles. Like I say, the first goal for me, he has to be doing better. You know, he can't. You've got to be, goal side. That's a common thing. Like I say, Middlesbrough fans, they did warn us. He's not too great defensively, and for me, I'd be dropping him the next game. I'd be dropping him. I'd be putting Doughty on the left. Probably have to go Kabore on the right, wouldn't you? Because there's not really anyone else. And he is the lone player as well. So it's one of them, but, I didn't like when he was, putting his, hands all over the place. Got to be doing better, mate. Yeah, Kaminsky's got to be doing better, but at the same time, you've got to be marking, and it wasn't good enough. Jared Bowen, like I say, he's a good player, but should not be winning headers like that. Not that tall. So I was disappointed, to be honest, with Giles. So I will go with it's going to sound harsh, but I'm saying it how it is. I'm going with a 4.
I'll give him a 5. It weren't good enough. And the thing is, all right, you're not good defensively. That's obviously probably in the back of his mind as well, right? But if you're not, then the things that you are good at, you need to be getting them things on point. 10 out of 10. Get your crosses in. Get an assist, 2 assists. When you're getting that pass, like Morris, I mean, last season, even this season, a couple of times, not quite there, but when he gets that ball in the channels, he's looking to cut inside and go past people. Giles weren't even doing that. It was just like, it has to be really easy for him to get the cross in, kind of thing. Yeah, just do, if you can't defend or whatever, make sure that you pay back for that. There was and I'll get onto when we do the next rating for that. There's a perfect example of that, but he didn't rectify the situation, kind of thing. Yeah, it was frustrating, mate. Doing all that, but where was you? You was in the car park, mate. What was you doing?
Exactly. That's why I got so frustrated.
I don't mind if he misses, if he's close to him, and then but he still gets the header. Fair enough, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
If you're chatting to people in the crowd or whatever we're doing, then we're a bit harsh, right? But 5 needs to improve.
Yeah, exactly. And I've seen other people say it. If he's just good at crossing, then put someone else in. And bring him on. Maybe even play him a bit higher.
Doughty's good at crossing.
Yeah. Exactly. Like,
he's got that quality. He needs to up his game, but maybe it is. I'm sure. We'll see.
Yeah. Alex has gone for a 5. Yeah, fair enough, mate. Fair enough. Lewis says 5.5. Feel like he was one of the worst on the pitch. Looked all over the place and was constantly losing his man. Exactly, mate. Exactly. He was. You saw that on the goal. That's that's a clear example. So there's that. James says he wasn't as poor as last games, but still delivery hasn't been as expected. Yeah, exactly. You know, like the Chelsea game, his crossing was poor. You know, for his standards that he has, you know, and we have quite high expectations because we saw what he'd done at Middlesbrough. You know, when it comes to crosses, you know, we know he's good at them, but in the game, I don't think he had one decent one. They weren't even getting to the front post, mate. You know, it was shocking. It was shocking. So he needs to improve. And for me, I'll be dropping him. I'll be dropping him in the next game. Doubt he deserves to start. And like I say, you'd probably go Kabore because it's not really. Can Chio play on the right? I mean, when he come on, he was on the left. So I don't know if he could play on the right. So that's why I don't say him. And plus, it's not his main position.
Kabore is the defender, really. And he
exactly. Yeah. And he is on loan. So loan players, you want to make most of them. Unless they're playing poor, then obviously drop them. But
he ain't been that bad.
Again, you know, he's from Man City. So it's one where, you know, they want to keep him after. So he's got to show us why, you know, being on loan sort of thing, in my opinion. So, yeah. Yeah, okay, yeah. I'm the same because, like I say, I haven't seen Chio on the right and Kabore is the defender, like you say, Dad. So there's that. And then moving on to the back three, we will start off with Bell. It wasn't as bad as what it has been, you know, in the previous games, but, you know, obviously he's not playing his natural position. He done okay. Some of his, you know, when he was on the ball, you know, at times he looked confident, more confident than he has, you know, pinging it. You know, we know he's very good at that. We saw that a few times.
The goal came from his pass. He crossed, he basically lobbed it into the box onto Morris's head because he knows Morris in them positions, just, you know, on the edge of the penalty area, heading it back across. He's brilliant at that. That's what we need to be doing. Goals will come from that against anyone. And he spotted that. So yeah, props to him. But yeah, go on.
Yeah, he was better. You know, he's better than what we have seen. You know, maybe even thinking about it, why didn't I suggest this? Could even go for Fulham. You could even go Bell on the left, Doughty on the right. I've only just remembered that. You know, that's another shot to go with.
If we fill that LCB, then we'll be fine.
Yeah, that's the thing. And that's where this United player will come in, Menji, at some point. Former United player, I should say. But yeah, we'll see. I think that might take 1 or 2 games with him, just so he gets used to the team and etc. But going forward, you know, maybe later on we could do that because obviously we know Bell is a lot better in that left wing back role. But yeah, he was better than what I have seen. You know, like you say, major part of that goal as well. I thought he done all right defensively as well, you know, compared to what we've seen in previous weeks. So for Bell, I'll go for 7. I'll go for 7 for Bell.
Just a bit, you know, because I'm being ultra, you know, just fine line with mine. So I'm gonna give him 6.5. There was a couple of times as well where he was doing sloppy passing. That's still, but overall it was better than I've seen from him, especially you know, when we were going forward and that. So, yeah, 6.5.
Yeah. Alex has gone with 6 for Bell. Fair enough. Lewis has can't remember much of his game. That's fair enough. Yeah, Lockyer is injured. Yeah, Stephen told us about that earlier. So yeah, there's that. Big up. Hope you're well. But yeah, moving on to the next player. We will go over to Anderson, who obviously got the goal. He played well for me. You know, obviously got the goal. Looked composed, you know, like I've seen a lot of times with his spell so far at Luton. So yeah, he was decent for me. You know, the first goal, I don't blame him. Second goal, that little come in with Burke, but I'm not going to moan too much, to be honest. I'll go over 7 for Anderson.
See, mate, I'm going to say it's my man of the match because from that point I was making earlier about Giles, when, you know, not marking that. There was a couple of occasions where Anderson, sort of dillied on the ball a little bit, but then when he realised he made that mistake or whatever, and he bombed back, put the tackle in. Do you know what I mean? And more look at him, more like him, and he seems to be moving to the adaptation quicker than the other new signings. And he was hungry. Look at him racing into the box. That's not even talked about enough, to win that header. Not just win it, but place it where he did. So the keeper had no chance. And was kind of in the penalty shout. He was going up for the header there. He had a chance in the first half as well. Wasn't at fault for any of second goal, I say, but not really. I'm not going. We're going to take. So still lowish rate 7, but for me, he was one man match.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Loads of people on the same wavelength as you when it comes to man of the match. Stevens said it here. He said Mads looked very good. He was a shining light, man of the match. 8.3. Definitely agree with that. Again, Alex has gone with him for man of the match. 8.5.
League for us as well in our home.
Yeah, that's true. Lewis says Anderson 8.5 man of the match for me. Looked very composed at the back. Looks very comfortable. Exactly, and that's the thing I've been saying and I've seen. Since he's come in. I did question the move, but he looks solid, and you can tell the passion is already there. Yeah, exactly. And definitely. I felt based on what I've seen, he was way too good for League One, in my opinion. It was just, I remember when he come in, we were saying we'll find out if he's a top Championship player or a Premier League, not necessarily top Premier League player, of course, but like able to make that step up like your Kaminskis, etc. And so far, he's showing that he's good enough for us. And even though he's coming, early compared to likes at Lockyer, and I think he can be up there in contention to be a captain at some point, and have that armband sooner rather than later. Because obviously he was the captain as well at Barnsley, wasn't he? And he's a good leader, man. He's a good leader from what I've seen. Lewis also says, and a very well taken header, solid performance for me. And as I say, my man of the match. So yeah, there we go. With that, and then moving on to the next player, the last defender, and that was Reece Burke. Again, Burke's another player I like. When he's come in, obviously this game he started, but obviously games he's come in for Lockyer, obviously a player final to stand out. It's exceptional. Obviously last game, I think he come on for him in the Chelsea game. Was it Gillingham? I can't remember, but he done well. Obviously he's had moments. He's had a lot of injuries, which isn't ideal, but he's had good moments for us in this game. I thought he was decent. I didn't think he was awful. Again, the goals, don't blame him. So for Burke, I'll go with a 7 for Burke.
Yeah, I thought he was pretty good actually. 7. Another one who was kind of playing like he has been. That no fear factor. I wasn't afraid to go forward. Was quite confident on the ball. In different, all over the pitch kind of thing. Certain. Who was it? Made a mistake. Someone made a mistake in midfield, and it come into our penalty box, and he was there. Whack it away. So he's just going to grow as well. I thought it was pretty good for him, to be fair, against his former team as well. 7, yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. This is an interesting one. I would say he's up there, but I wouldn't quite put him there yet. I would, even though he knows he should have done better, I'd probably say Kaminski so far, because he's a new signing as well. He looks like he's willing to make that step up. Chong for me has been good, except the last game. So I'd go Kaminski. Who do you go with? Obviously, it's still very early days.
I don't think you mean player of the year or player of the season so far, but Yeah, it's too early for me to.
Yeah.
I mean, if giving it to your keeper, that doesn't look good anyway. But we'll see. I'll give us 10 games, and then
Doughty's up there as well. Think about it.
yeah, give us 10 games, and then
Yeah.
we'll see. Because then you'll know.
Yeah. A lot of people, have said about next 5 games we'll be able to proper see where we're at because a lot of them teams are in and around us. So we will obviously get into that. Not literally preview the games, but just see from there what will go on. But I know most of the games. Stephen says first Dane score since Lars Elstrup. I think I said his name right. But obviously making history. Like Dad said, obviously getting the first goal in the Premier League at home. So fair play to him. Obviously Morris was the first player to ever score for us in the Premier League. But obviously Anderson is the first player at home. So shout out to him. Stephen also says Burke was okay, 7.7. Yeah, that's fair enough. Alex says Burke, 7.5, done the simple stuff, was pretty good. Can't knock him, gives 100% every game. Don't look scared to make a risk. Exactly. That's the thing as well. I still can't believe, even though I know he's a quality player, I still can't believe how good he was in the final when he come on. He was just madness, mate. Madness how good he was. But definitely agree with that. And then moving on to the midfield. We'll start off with... no, we won't start off with Chong, actually. We'll start off with Nakamba. He done well. Like I said, it's better than what we have seen in the last couple of weeks. He was getting stuck in, making them right tackles. He was getting fouled all over the place as well. And, he continued through it. And I was impressed with him. That's the Nakamba we're used to seeing, when he was on loan last season. So for me, I'll go... He did get a yellow card, but I can't really remember it. I'll go over 7.5.
I'll give him a 6.5. Again, I've seen better from him. It's his best performance so far. But it's still a couple of sloppy parts. I think it relates to that where he's played in the Premier League before, and when he has played them passes, when he's been playing for Villa and stuff, they've had the players that will get on, whereas certain players are not quite up to it and things like that. So it's not quite working out. But it was definitely a better performance, but not amazing. 6.5.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Steve says Nakamba, big improvement from last week. Look more composed. Exactly, that's the thing. 6.8. James says Nakamba man of match for me. Fair enough. He is up there if I was to give one. 9. Okay. Feels back to fitness now. I think his charity work setting back pre-season, back to what we love. Exactly. It's back to what we love. And then Nakamba we know, the reason we brought him in. So hopefully, it continues. He does give away silly fouls sometimes. So hopefully, that cuts out a little bit. So yeah. Alex says 7 controlled the midfield and done what he had to. Without him in midfield, with fucks like Darren says, seen him play better. Yeah, exactly. That's no, absolutely. Big up to anyone that does stuff like that. Absolutely, mate. So yeah, there we go with that. And then moving on to Barkley, he was disappointing. First game against Chelsea, you're like, okay, give him the benefit of the doubt in a sense because it is his first game. But he just wasn't great in this game. No, he's got that experience, over 200 Premier League games, and he just, I don't know, weren't really in the game. If I'm being honest, weren't really doing too much for me, and it was quite disappointing. So for me, I'll go with a 5.
Yeah, 5. It was pretty anonymous considering the caliber of the player he is, quality he's got. Sort of just glimpsed that they weren't nowhere near good enough. But again, I'm sure we'll get better. I don't think it's his fitness or anything. I don't know what it is. I think it's just he hasn't played in the Premier League for ages. I'm not sure, but he's got the ability. So let's hope he's not a flop.
Mm.
And again, if he's not, because Ruddock when he come on was much better. So
Yeah.
I went at 5. Yeah, I'm sure we're going to see more from him, but in this game at home, it's a bit of a letdown. 5.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Alex is obviously there. It's the second first game at home. Yeah, obviously he did come on, didn't he, against Gillingham? I was very surprised about that, to be honest. I was surprised he was even on the bench. Walk off and laugh with the opposition players, not even acknowledge, can't speak, your fans. He was caught in the pitch, didn't see him. Yeah, exactly. He's very anonymous, wasn't he? But yeah, that is a talking point a lot of people are going on about. For me, I'm not really going to get into it because I weren't there.
Really
So,
looking that, like certain players react in different ways, especially like if someone's got he has had an attitude before, I think, and that's been his a little bit of an issue for him. But some people, if they're that pissed off with their own performance, they'll just do that. It's not necessarily a problem with the fan. I mean, do you know what I mean? So, because if you start like, I see your point in that, but if you start ganging up on then it ain't gonna. It's just gonna get worse, isn't it? If it has been picked up on and things like that, then it's down to the manager to say, no, he can't be doing that again, whether you like it or not. Like, some fans were saying it when he got substituted, he was clapping. It was just at the end that he weren't doing it or whatever. I don't know. I weren't there, so I can't really judge. But the performance on the pitch is what I'm concerned about. And shit, what he does, whether he, do you know what I mean? I don't, like if he's putting it on the pitch, that's all I care about.
Yeah, exactly. Play for the badge. We all know that. For that. But yeah, that is that. And then moving on to the last midfielder, Chong. Now, out of the games he's had, this was the most disappointing one. Let's be honest. A few times, balls given away. His crossing at times was, he's not a player that's known for crossing, but should be doing better. It was a bit disappointing from him compared to what we've seen. Previous games, the opposition players have, struggled to deal with him. He's been getting fouled left, right, and centre. He's been making good passes out wide. In the Chelsea and Brighton game, obviously the Wolves friendly as well. But this game, not like what it has been like for him. So I won't go too low, but it wasn't great. I'll go over 6.
Yeah, I'll give him a 6. I think he's just sort of realising, like, actually, this is a lot harder work than I thought it'd be, and things like that. He's got the ability. I think he did actually get fouled again in this game, on a yellow card again. For that, not at him, but the guy fouled him. But yeah, I mean, when he come off, I think it's against Chelsea. You can see that he was annoyed, and it just seems to kind of carry over a little bit. Like he's just got to get that balance right, and he'll come good because he's definitely got the ability. We were both saying about out of the signings that we was looking forward to seeing him play and stuff. So yeah, it weren't great. I'm just not sure. The midfield it's too disjointed. And he's part of that at the moment. So we'll have to see how we play going forward. 6.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Steve says Chong not his best. Tried hard, but wasn't working for him. 6.7. Yeah, certainly was not working at all. And then moving on to the front two, we'll start off with Elijah. His close control, I've been saying it, is definitely Premier League quality. When he's on the ball, the way he controls it, goes past players was decent. I'd have still started Brown personally in this game because I just feel he's been knocking on the door. And Morris, you saw at the end of the game, you can't really drop him. Obviously got the assist. He wasn't bad, Elijah. He wasn't bad. But he's just not clicking up front. You know, we're not scoring up front. You know, obviously the only goal from an attacker this season in the league has obviously been the penalty. So that obviously needs to improve. But I don't think he was awful, Elijah. I don't think he was awful. I'll go with a 7.
I'll give him a 6.5. As you said, his hold-up play is good in that, but there's no sort of outlet. He's not getting in the box enough. He's not.
Yeah.
It's a bit like last season, very similar, and you know, we'll see what happens. It is the Premier League. He's just got to get used to it and have that confidence to go forward more. And like he snatched at a shot in the first half, didn't he? If he'd have just composed himself, took a touch or whatever, he might have scored that. But we're gonna have to wait and see. 6.5.
Yeah. Spot on. Totally agree with this. Held up well, didn't create enough. 6.5. Yeah, that's the thing. And that's the thing. I think I said it on the watch on as well. You know, he's very good at, you know, close control, etc. But he's not really in the box. You know, linking to what you just said there. He's not really.
Yeah, or maybe other players have got to realise that, yeah, Elijah's doing that now. We need to get in positions where he can release the ball to us and things like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
Play on his strength. Otherwise, it's just pointless in being up front to a certain extent if he's just doing that and then trying to pass to someone getting intercepted. Like, it's just, yeah.
Yeah. Alex says, how Elijah is still starting is beyond me. He's not clicking in the league, not showing much, not creating much. The thing for me, mate, I just feel Brown deserves his chance. You know, he's been knocking on the door. Got that goal against Gillingham. Yeah, like I say, people go, oh, it's Gillingham. But at the end of the day, he's come on and done what he's needed to do. And that is score a goal and put us through. You know, obviously he's not, you know, it's a team effort. You know, obviously it's a, 5-goal thriller, as we know. But, you know, he's done well. When he's come on, he's done well. Chelsea done well. You know, yellow card, accept that. And then Brighton, you know, penalty or not, he was the reason we got it, you know, through providing that ball into the box. So, you know, and he works hard. You know, he's willing to come back and try and win the ball as well. And you're not really... Like, Elijah works hard, but not like how, in my opinion, how we've seen Brown do it so far, where he's willing to get the ball, you know, willing to be in the box, you know, for them chances, sort of thing. So that's what I got to say on it. But he's gone with 5.5 for Elijah. Adebayo knows how to up the ball, kicking, couldn't tackle him when ball at feet. And Elijah, we trust 7.5. So yeah, they are that. James says, do you reckon Morris and Adebayo know they're starters, so don't have to pressure to give all? When Brown and Chio come on, they look hungry. I think Morris probably knows that.
Yeah.
Because, you know, part of what comes down to that is obviously we don't know, but at this current moment in time, for what we do know, he is the, you know, record signing
as well.
And I think Elijah does, because, you know, if there was a game where, you know, you would have thought Brown would have started, you probably thought he would have been on Friday, you know, given how he's been. So, yeah, I think they do. And the thing is, you know, linking to that as well, when Chio come on, he didn't come on up front. Previous games, I think he has, if I'm correct, but obviously that game he didn't. So I think they do know that. And you want that competition. For me, whoever's showing it the most, for me, is Brown and Morris, because, like I say, you can't really drop Morris because he pops up with stuff, you know, and his movement is very good, you know, as well. But yeah, that's what I've got to say on it. Anything you want to add to that, Dad?
No.
There's that. And then Alex said, Gillingham or Manchester City, he's done more, showed more when he's come on and started. He has. You know, we have to be honest. You know, we like Elijah, but we're just saying it how it is. You know, and that is something Stoke fans did say about Brown. He does work very hard. And when you think about it, for me, he is that Joe Taylor replacement this season, you know, isn't he, really? It's similar in the sense they work hard, he'll come on, try and chip in. And he has so far. He has obviously scored in a game. So there's that. But moving on to Morris, obviously did get the assist. Had a chance, actually, thinking about it. It should have been a corner. Come off the West Ham player. I can't remember who it was exactly. I thought he spooned it on the watch long, but looking at the replay, blatant corner.
Yeah.
Him and Ruddock were going absolutely mental because it was quite clear looking back at it. Especially where the referee was. I don't know how I didn't see that it didn't take a deflection. But Morris, he got the assist. He was all right. I've seen better from him, but he was decent. I'll go for 7.5.
I'll give him 7. I thought he was pretty good. He got the assist. His hold up play was more effective than Elijah's was. He was winning tackles as well quite a few times. He worked very hard, considering the service he weren't really getting, but he seemed to be of that mindset. There's some players in the Premier League, obviously higher quality players than him, they don't see a touch all game, but then when they do get it, they can do something with it. And he's sort of got that mindset, rather than whereas Elijah's a bit more like fuck's sake kind of. I see that a lot from him, and that ain't going to help you in the Premier League. So, but yeah, 7.
Yeah, Steve's gone with a 7.7 for Elijah. Moving on to the subs, obviously, excuse me, in this game, we made 5 subs. Obviously, the most you can make nowadays. Kabore, can't really remember too much, if I'm being honest. I might be completely wrong, but I just can't really remember too much. Obviously, he come on for Giles, which obviously meant Doughty went to the left, Kabore on the right. Yeah, from what I can remember, I can't remember much, so I'm just going to go for 6.
Yeah, 6. Just come on to just do what he's supposed to be good at, maybe get forward as well a little bit. But yeah, it was 6. He didn't do anything terrible.
No, exactly. One player I did remember, I did know about when he come on, was Pelly Ruddock. Now, when he come on, he done a very nice pass out to the left, and I think we actually got a corner for it. And he's looking hungry again. He's similar to Doughty in the sense where, he was a regular starter last season, so he won't like the way he's just been thrown out essentially. To be on the bench more. Even the Chelsea game when he come on in that game, he was good. A few of you gave him man of the match the other day against Gillingham. And what I will say, and I said it on, the reactions to Gillingham, is since he's been a championship player with us, the way he's been able to switch the ball, mainly under Rob Edwards as well, the way he's been able to switch the ball, and take that touch, ping it out, he's improved massively on that. And he was good. He was good when he come on in this game. So I'll give him a 7.
Yeah, I'll give him 7. He was really in another one. He's not afraid. See, he's one of them players from last season. He's just not afraid. Definitely not. Great run into the box. Great tackle on him because he was literally just about to shoot. And then he won that late corner as well. And some of his passing was good. He just looked switched on and hungry. So someone's got to make these decisions and go, well, desire and hunger, which is what we've worked, has helped our team get to where we are. If I don't give a shit if Zidane's playing, yeah. If he ain't playing like he can do, I'd rather have Pelly Ruddock playing. So yeah, for it's 7.
Yeah, fact. And also, obviously, he's been with us, obviously years upon years now, and he knows how the players work. Most of them.
If you keep leaving him on the bench and that, his hunger might go slightly. Do you know what I mean? Want him to come on, and he's itching to get his first goal. He's throwing himself in the box more than I've seen him like in previous seasons and things like that. So yeah, 7. I'll be starting him against Fulham.
Fair enough. There you go. bit of an early lineup thing there. Obviously, I done mine when I said about Brown against West Ham, but yeah, that's that. And then moving on to Brown, I felt if he come on earlier, maybe 55th to 60th minute, he'd probably been able to show more. But in this one, can't really think of too much. But for me, like I said, I would have started him. I can't remember too much. I'll just go over 6.
Yeah, same 6. I think it was the effort, the running was there a bit, but he weren't really getting much of the ball and things like that. So, it, like you say, come on a bit too late kind of thing. But yeah. 6.
And then moving on to the last two. The first one was Chio. He showed, the energy. He done well when he come on. He come on in the left wing back role. And he was trying to get stuck in. He was trying to get stuck in like he has, since we've seen him. So for me, I'll go over 6.5.
I reckon it's better than that. I reckon for me, he's another one who, for me, Premier League ready. No fear, always willing to go past players. Looks for a good pass, very intelligent player, strong. Like, this is what I'm saying. If we start 3 up top, he should be starting. Like, for me, every time he's come on, he's looked dangerous. But he hasn't had, even though he's had that limited time, he's constantly they're looking to give him the ball because he can carry that ball. For me, he should be starting. I'm telling you now. He's going to be, obviously, we've had some international call-ups, but his one's probably more important. So I'm going to be looking to watch the Ireland games with him in it, and hopefully that'll just give him some more impetus and all that. I think he was good. 7.
Yeah, he's a massive part of it for them. Obviously, his highlight is obviously that goal he scored against Portugal. I think it was 2-2. But yeah, he's a massive part of them. So I'll have a little look out as well. And then the last sub, I'm just going to go over standard 6. Literally, that was Woodrow, literally before the corner. But yeah, 6 for me.
6.
There you go. They are the player ratings, the overall reaction to the West Ham game. Did get score prediction right. Could have been a different score. Obviously, could have been 2-2, like you said. Obviously, if we did get that penalty, I do think we would have scored it as well. Just the way we were, applying pressure. Morris, I reckon he would have done it. And I think that's another reason people are so frustrated as well. Because, it could have been our first point. Obviously we haven't got any yet. And, heat at the moment for a lot of people, obviously I was quite annoyed at the time as well. But obviously we still are here for the boys. And I think it's a good time for the international break to come. Especially with how it's started off for us. We've had 3 difficult games. We've got to take that into account. And it goes to what Alex has said. And I did start it. This is how I see it as well. He says, still early days. We play 3 teams, all quality and much better than we are. Still have to get used to this. Fulham, Wolves and Everton are going to be better than them. No time to pick points up. Exactly. And, it goes to this as well by James. He says, next 5 games we stand. And I do agree with that. Because if you look at it, we've got Fulham. Last time we went there was in the Championship. We done an instant hatter show. That's all I need to say on that game. Obviously, Wolves after that, which, is a home game. Wolves, I think they'll be in a battle. So that's good. Fulham, I don't really know with Fulham because they've had good results recently in the last, few weeks, drawing away at Arsenal. They could have won that, to be fair.
Getting slept up by Man City, but everyone does. Really.
Yeah, exactly. I reckon they'll be in it, but they'll be like higher up from it, sort of thing, if that makes sense. Wolves, I think they'll be in there. You know, I said that at the start of the season. Their FFP problems. You know, the players they've lost. Jimenez, as much as he wasn't the same since that injury, you know, he was still a massive part for them. Midfielders, they lost Moutinho, Neves. You know, I think they'll struggle. Obviously, then we got Exeter, but that's different. Everton away. You know, predicting that right now, that could go anyway, literally. But again, they're going to be a team in the battle. They have been for numerous amount of years now. And then after that is Tottenham. Tottenham at home. We're at home. It's a 12:30 kickoff. You never know. And then Nottingham Forest after that, which last time we went there, we drew 0-0 and we should have won it, to be honest. Jordan Clark had a good chance in that game. I remember going to that. So the next 5 games are interesting. And then obviously after that is some very difficult games. Aston Villa away, which obviously has been moved because they're in Europe. Liverpool at home, Man United away. But look at it until Forest. I agree with that. Upon that, and then Stevens man of match, Mads or Kaminsky. I think he did say Madison. Not Madison. Mats Anderson in the end. Because I said about that Tottenham game, you know what I mean? But anything you want to say on the next 5 games? Obviously, not predicting. Do you think they'll determine where we are or where we'll start? Sorry.
Most people would say if we're still potless before then we're fucked. But yeah, they will. They are the teams that you potentially look at and go, "Oh, we can get results again." That doesn't mean say you will, because they'll be looking at us in the same flipping way. So you've got to go out there and prove it. And just need a little bit of luck. Just need to get a point on the board as soon as possible. The longer it goes on, the worse it's going to get.
Yeah, no, 100%. Don't remind me, Lewis. See, we had Ingram them times there, emergency loan, and rather than that. Oh, that watch long, man, that was peak. I'm not gonna lie. But there we go. But yeah, that is that. That is everything said on the West Ham game. So yeah, and then moving on, we will do a little discussion on the transfer window. Because like I said, this is the first stream/video since obviously it's been shut. And I'll just read everything, all the signings and outgoings out, and we will just rate them out of 10. So obviously Isted went to Charlton, which I think was a good move. He was, never really going to get in the starter. Obviously we know that. He's been at Luton. He was at Luton for numerous amount of years. It was always going to be difficult for him. Obviously, Drame went back to Leeds. Obviously, he's gone to Birmingham on loan. That's one of them. We weren't looking into him. Obviously, the first signing was Chio. And so far, what we've seen is a good signing. It's a good signing. And hopefully, he can push on and start soon. I don't really know where it'd be, like I say, because I don't know if it would be up front. I think it probably would be maybe as a wing back. But we'll see. Maybe change the formation. I might be saying a different thing.
For me, it'd be in front 3 if you're going to put it all front.
That's the thing. If you change formation, I definitely think he'll be out wide. Yeah. So there's that. And then obviously we signed Anderson. Again, composed. Looks like a decent signing. Obviously Walton went to Dundee. But at the time, we was probably thinking we were going to get, someone, especially even being loaned out. And obviously, we know how long it took to get 2 keepers like we needed. We'll see how he does. I think on the weekend, he won 2-0. He got clean sheet. So I will be having a little look at their games just to see how he's doing. And then Elliot Thorpe obviously went on loan to Shrewsbury. Again, I thought he was going to go out on loan. It was going to be difficult for him to get in the team, in my opinion. Obviously his loan spell at Burton as well didn't really work out. He played for them on my birthday, funny enough, and then he didn't play until that Grimsby game for us. And obviously, we know how that game went. So that is the right move. Shrewsbury, obviously started off well. I think he's injured again at the moment, isn't he?
I think so.
Which is just unlucky, really, for him. But yeah, I don't know how long it is, but hopefully it's not too long, But we'll see. And then obviously Chong, obviously one of the signings, like we said earlier, we were most excited about. We know he's got that quality, so hopefully as it goes on, we'll see. Like we say, we have seen it in a lot of games, just except the last one, but we'll see. We'll see. And then obviously we've got Nakamba back eventually. Obviously that took a while. We the wages couldn't add up to it with Villa, and then eventually we did, and we got him. There was rumours we were going to get him on loan again. If he plays like how he did last season, then obviously we know that's a good one permanently as well. Kapore, obviously from City, got high expectations because, for me anyway, because Man City want to keep him after this. They've really, dotted down the lines to keep him, when he goes back. So I expect a lot of him. If a team like Man City want to have him in their plans, then he's got to prove it for me, and hasn't quite yet, but we'll see. We'll see as we go a bit later on. Mendes Gomez obviously went to Bolton. It's a bit gutting, but the more I think about it, again, similar to Eisted, he weren't really going to cut it and be in the first team. It's a very good move, for him. And, wish him all the best. He had good moments for us. Obviously, that goal against Newport. Shame we lost it, but wicked goal. I remember going Blackpool away, 3-0. Done very well there. There's that. Fred obviously went on loan to Rotherham, Stephen's favourite player, as we know. And to be fair,
he's doing all right.
Yeah, that's literally what I was going to say. Out of the loan players so far, he's probably doing the best. He did get a bit of a controversial red card. 2 yellows and a red, and their fans weren't too happy about that. Because it just wasn't. And I saw it as well. I don't know, man. It's just mad, isn't it? Mad how you can get cards for celebrating, but there we go. But yeah, he's doing well so far. He's doing well since he's come back. Assists, scored a few as well. So we'll see a bit more of that. And then obviously we brought Giles in. He was up there when it comes to him and Chong. For me, most excited because I saw what he'd done at Middlesbrough. But obviously he needs to step it up. But like I said, I would be dropping him next game. And then obviously we've got Kaminsky. Obviously, so far that's proved to be a good signing. Obviously, we'll see how that carries on. Hopefully very well, because we know our luck, especially in recent years with goalkeepers. But so far, so good from him, predominantly anyway. And then obviously Petit. Obviously, I'll talk briefly about him. Obviously, youngster, one of the higher rated youngsters. Obviously, went free agent to Maidenhead. Again, wish him all the best. Development games look very good, and yeah, man, just wish him all the best. But again, was he going to get in the team anytime soon? He was on the bench like the odd times, but not as much as like Johnson, for example. So yeah, there's that. But he'll do well there, I reckon. I haven't really followed how he's doing there, but I'm sure he's doing all right. Joe Taylor went out on loan, obviously to Colchester. Started off very well. Recent weeks he hasn't really scored, but he was scoring very early on, and he should really be doing well in that league. If he can come on and do what he done in the playoff final, yeah, it didn't count, but still get the goal. Be in the position, score good penalty, composed in a game of that magnitude. For a championship side at that time, then he should really be doing smashing it up and proving it really, and he has for majority of his time at Colchester. So we'll see how that goes. And then obviously we've got Ross Barkley through the door. Obviously we need to know where we need him to improve. We know that obviously his quality, you just expect it. Because he's played 200 odd Premier League games. So we'll see how that goes. Jacob Brown, good signing so far. Hopefully at one point he gets to start. It's not in the League Cup. obviously I don't mind him starting in that either, but in the league as well, I feel if he carries on, putting pressure on like he has been, apologies if you can't hear that, that's the buzzer, then he should, just keep going and get that chance. Then we got Tim Crawlin, backup keeper, very good signing. It's one where it's experienced, and it's a good signing. Obviously we were linked to Ruddy, but I think Krul's better. You saw Ruddy the other day as well for Birmingham was a bit suspect, so we might have missed out on one there. And Krul's got better experience for me as well. That will benefit us. I feel. Obviously the World Cup. He come on and literally won in the shootout, didn't he? All them 2014, I think it was, wasn't it? So there's that. And then obviously Pebble went out on loan again. He wasn't really going to cut it and get in the first team. I remember when I went to the development game, one of the development games in pre-season, he was watching on. So I think from there, he weren't really going to get in, not even if he's playing. He wasn't doing that. So there's that. Obviously Freeman went. Obviously we spoke about that. He wasn't really cutting it. For us, games he would try and do a bit too much, but it's just one of them. We always knew that was going to happen. McAtee to Barnsley. Now, this one was probably a shock, if we're being honest. I thought he would be on the bench. I do think the quality's there, and I do think he's good enough to make that step up. From what we have seen, the FA Cup game last season. Southampton at the time were a Premier League team. He come on. He didn't even start that game, and he done very well. Obviously pre-season, he's looked good in the games he did play. The Wolves game had a little cameo, done well. Peterborough, even though I didn't see the whole game, scored a really good goal in that game. And obviously you've got to think as well, his brother plays for Man City, so there's that competition as well. You always want to have that, and I feel he is good enough to make that step up. And I know you're the same on that, Bud, as well.
Yeah, definitely. His brother's actually was on loan at Sheffield United and has gone back on loan to them. But if out of the ones that are on loan and potentially come back and get into the team, is probably right up there. So to see how they scored in his debut against Barnsley. So I just keep an eye out for him as well. That's the thing about international breaks and that. You can watch some of your other players in there how they're doing in their loan spells and that. So that's good.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And yeah, Barnsley's a good move for him. We're giving him someone back. I said it at the time. We're giving him someone back. Obviously, we like to sign a lot of their players: Morris, Anderson, Woodrow. List goes on. But then we do give them the odd loans every now and then. Even Isted last season, and then Tiedemann Menji. Like I say, he hasn't quite played in the Premier League, but he has played in the Champions League for Man United. He has also been in the Championship. He's had the experience. For his best time in the Championship, I would say, is probably Derby. He's had Derby and Birmingham, but I'd probably say it's Derby. And I think he is a good player, from what I have seen. He's quite a bulky player as well. I said that when we signed him.
Strong.
I think that he'll do well. Like I say, I think it'll take him 1 or 2 games to settle in, just so he gets used to the team. And then, we need to be playing him for me, especially with how long we've needed to address this left centre-back role. And like I say, playing the left centre-back and the right side of centre-back. So, yeah. And then Musgrave went on loan to Exeter. Now, obviously, that was because Nombe left, obviously a former Luton player. I'm not surprised in the sense where I didn't want it to happen, but I'm surprised he's gone out on loan. I just thought because it's unfortunate time at Luton, we'd be looking at moving on. Obviously that Blackpool goal, if that stood, we would probably be sitting here and he'd maybe be in the team. Let's be honest now, because that would have confirmed playoffs. It'd have been massive. But it's interesting that it's a loan. And I hope he does well there. And I think if he doesn't, we'll probably be getting him off the books because, Exeter, they're in, was it League One? So, yeah, it's going to be interesting. Obviously, he can't play against us because obviously he's a loan. So, can't judge him from that game, but I'll keep my eye out, see how they do. And they've started off well as well. So, we'll see, if that continues and how he does. This one was a shock to me, and that was obviously Campbell. But then again, it's not really, because since Rob Edwards has come in, he hasn't really got that opportunity. But it is gutting for me, because I feel, especially in the Premier League, we're going to have less possession. We did it a lot of times in the Championship anyway. But, I feel Campbell would be a good player suited to that, especially the way he applies pressure on players, etc. He has played, one game for Millwall. He come on, I think there's about 15 minutes left. And, I'm not really going to judge him from that, but maybe see how he does. I think Millwall's a good team suited for him on loan, though, because of the way they play, and just the way they are. I think it will suit him. And obviously Mick Harford was watching on, so we'll keep an eye closely on that one. And then obviously a couple more. Lokonga, obviously from Arsenal. He has got the experience for me, but I'm not too sure. Because obviously he went on loan at Palace last season and he didn't really pull strings there, and I thought he would. But we'll see. It could be, it could just be suited to us. Sometimes the players are, and it is a loan. So if it doesn't work out, it's not the end of the world, I guess. And I look in midfield, and we're probably, as much as the midfield's not clicking at the moment, that's where we're most suited, because that's where we've got the most players in midfield, isn't it? So we'll see with that one. And then obviously Pierre's went on loan to Sutton. It's just one of them, isn't it? Obviously he had pre-season. I can't remember if it was this season or last season, but he was getting quite a few assists, and we thought maybe he'd get the chance, but he didn't. He went on loan. I can't remember where he went on loan to. Bradford, that was it, and it didn't. Started off all right, but then again, similar to thought where he wasn't really playing. So it makes sense, based on us doing that we loan him out again. And yeah, that is it really. The last one is Francis Clark, but I'm not going to go too much into this. But the only reason I am going to mention it is because he was on the bench against West Ham. He's gone to Dagenham and Redbridge on loan, so we'll see how he does there. But yeah, overall, after saying all of that, Dad, what would you rate our business out of 10?
Well, as we talked about it, but I'm going to give it an 8. On paper as well. Yeah, obviously some players, the Giles is the most expensive signing. Barkley is our most, look at this sort of signing. They haven't quite clicked yet, but I'm sure they will at some point. Morris didn't start great last season, and then look what happened. So let's see. And he was our most expensive signing. We thought, oh yeah, Woodrow. So yeah, ins and outs. We're not going to be spending loads of money. So players are bought in and things like that. And especially on the last day as well, bringing in a couple that we definitely needed, managed to get them through the door. One from Man U, one from Arsenal, that's good business. So I'm gonna go for an 8.
An 8, yeah, that's fair enough. As for me, I'm gonna go for a 7. I'm gonna go for a 7. It has been decent. To get obviously these type of players. I think the loans, most of them are the right decision. The Campbell one is the only one I'm not too sure, but we'll see. Millwall is a good team to go out on loan too for me, so we'll see from that one. And you never know; he might not play well, and then he might not look as good as what we think, but he is. But we'll see. I still feel I preferably wanted an experienced player in every position. Obviously we got it with goalkeeper. Obviously midfielder, we got it. Obviously goalkeeper, Krul. Midfielder, Barkley. You could say Lokonga now, I guess. But Menji is a good one, to be fair, for that left centre back role. So, like I say, we know we needed to address it for ages. But yeah, it's good, I feel, because he has been in and around Man United for ages. Obviously, massive club as we know, and it was a tough move for him in a sense, because obviously he's been there all his life. He said that. But at the same time, what's best for him? Getting an opportunity in the Premier League, because it was always going to be difficult, especially if, look at United's other options now. So there's that. But yeah, overall, it's been all right. It's been all right. We've terminated people's contracts we've needed to as well, in my opinion, because again, they're not really going to cut it. And we even said that in the Championship. So it's one of them. But yeah, that is that. Upon that, we will go through the last load of comments before we wrap up. Plus side is we look dangerous on set pieces. No, we absolutely do. Open play looking a little bit slow. Yeah, that's the only thing. And obviously, that does come down to the midfield, like we said earlier, in the sense, it's not really clicking at the moment. So, still early days. As the season goes on, we'll start to know our main midfield. So, yeah, that is that. Stephen says our window was quite productive. Yeah, obviously we expected a lot of signings to come in. They said that as well. Gary Sweet, Rob Edwards, and all of that. So yeah, and it needed to be. To be in the Premier League as well. We need to be getting players, and it's been decent. It's been decent. I'm a little bit surprised. I guess we haven't got an experienced striker, but we'll see.
They're hard to get.
Yeah, they are. No, they are. Obviously, one that we were rumoured with was obviously Archer. He's now gone to Sheffield United, but we wanted to loan. Sheffield United were willing to pay, and that's what Villa wanted. So it's one of them. But they are hard to get. No, they are. And it's, I've said it numerous amount of times. Not that I don't think Morris and Elijah can do it in the Premier and the others. It's just, I don't know, just someone there as well. But we'll see. There's always January as well. So we'll see what happens there. Stephen's gone with 7 out of 10 as well. So yeah, there's that. But that is where we are going to wrap it up. Obviously, it's been a bit longer than we both expected. But to be fair, it is the last Hatter show for a week and a bit. Because obviously it is now the international break. So yeah, obviously content will be a bit, slimmer in that sense as well, because obviously, like I say, the international break. I will do a watch long to England on Saturday. Not sure if I will do one to Scotland, but I'll do one to Ukraine. Keep that going. But yeah, obviously, it'd be a week Friday's time. Obviously, we take on Fulham, so that will be the next one. But Dad, any final things you'd like to say on anything?
No, we just if you can watch Chio if you can watch the Ireland games and that. I think he's going to do quite well, and like I said, I'll be starting him. And just enjoy the break. I'm really bothered about England probably, but there'll still be stuff coming out of the club. Hopefully Lockyer's injury is not too bad. Unfortunately for him, he's missed out in the Wales squad, but as you say, probably wouldn't have started, but you never know. So that might give him sort of more time to get back into it. If it's not that bad as well. So come at the right time kind of thing, but yeah. That's it really.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, that is that. That is episode 116 of the Hat Show done. Like I say, we'll be back again a week's Friday to obviously get into that Fulham game. Then obviously there won't be a watch long for a while until Tottenham stands. That's the next one on TV. When it comes to Luton anyway, like I say, England, I'll do one on Saturday. And then, yeah, obviously there'll be the Hat shows, obviously weekly. Obviously at some point there'll be one Monday or Tuesday, whenever we play Exeter. Obviously there'll be one the day before. So there's still the Hat shows that will be coming up and all of that. And as the season goes on, obviously we will be getting other opposition fans on as well, as the season goes on, and we'll keep that going as well. So yeah, plenty of things to still look forward to. And then potentially obviously the Villa game has been moved to 2 o'clock. As it stands, they haven't said anything about it if it's on TV, but obviously if it is, I will do a watch along to that one as well. So we will see. We will see with all of that. But the current like count is on 12 likes. So big up to everyone. I know a few people watched back on playback as well. A lot of you did watch the West Ham preview back as well. So big up to yourselves for that. As for subscribers, we're currently on 1,805. We did blast through 1,800, to be honest. A few new subscribers the other day as well, so big up to yourselves. Do subscribe to the extra channel as well if you haven't already. If you do want to follow me across any of my socials, obviously link to them are in the description. TikTok, Instagram, all of that, where we post clips on here, from here, and just anything in general on the main channel. And yeah, until Saturday now, I will see you then. And then my dad will see you a week's Friday for the Fulham preview. So until then, take care and peace uptown.